I just woke up from a dream. Well, I've been awake for 10 or 15 minutes. But in my dream, I went to a party and it took a bit of effort to get there because I was driving and I took a few wrong turns along the way and then I had to U-turn somewhere and it was a bit frustrating. But I got to the party and at the party it was like, I think it was for my friend. My friend was there and all of their friends. So I didn't really know too many people, but they all seemed to be around my age. And the party was a bit of a different party. It was not everyone just sitting around and talking or listening to music or eating cake, but it was like everyone was running around in this house and they had this tradition or this thing that they did every year apparently, and this must have been the first time that I attended. At this party, they would have on this table they had this big massive bowl or lots of bowls of like old food, and they had like old vegetables that were like way past their expiry date. And I specifically remember someone holding up like a bit of lettuce and it just looked like greenish, but then it also had like lots and lots of brown on it. And basically the idea was you had to pick something to eat and you would eat it at this party. And that was just what they did. And somehow they enjoyed it and they thought that would be a fun thing to do, as you know, as you do. And I don't know, someone said to me, "Oh yeah, last year we all got really sick, but it was all right." And I'm like, "All right, well, I don't really want to get sick, and I'm pretty sure I would get sick if I ate any of them, um, but I'm gonna go for the one that's least likely to make me sick." And I was trying to think like which one is like least likely, which one am I, gonna have the best chance of being okay with. And the interesting thing though was that everyone was just lining up and they were all chatting about everything, but it was just assumed that everyone was going to participate and everyone was going to eat something from this table full of stuff, full of old vegetables and food and stuff that was way, way past its expiry date. And yeah, and that's just what you would do. But when I woke up, I thought, that's a strange dream. Like, not only is it a bit, weird stuff was going on, but I was like, that's not me at all. Because in the dream, there was no question that I would eat something. It was a question of what would I eat? And even though I didn't really want to, I just knew I had to do it because everyone else was doing it. So basically it was like a peer pressure situation in a dream. And I didn't really think about it that way until I was awake and that I could see it from a different perspective and see that it was peer pressure basically. And everyone at that party was going to, eat something for whatever reason, even though there's like a 50-50 or a high chance that it would make them sick, for no obvious benefit. And yeah, I just thought it was really strange because in real life, I don't bow down to peer pressure. And it's something about me that's sort of been with me either most of my life or my whole life. Sometimes I do give in and I'll do what others are doing. But at some stage when I look at something and I go, no, I'm not doing that. When I get to that point and I say I'm not doing something, then there's nothing you can nothing anyone else can say to convince me to do that. If I say no, then that means no, I'm not doing that. I'm not participating. So I have this really rare ability, it seems, from what I experienced when I was in high school anyway. Like, people were, like, everyone was swearing, and like, I have nothing against swearing. That's totally fine if you want to. But I was just like, I'm just going to challenge myself to not swear. And I decided I'm not going to swear because, you know, high school, I just made that decision. And people thought it was a bit funny, thought it was a bit of a joke. But then some people would come up and they would be like, they would pressure me. They would be like, why don't you swear? Why don't you swear? They ask all different questions, and then they're like, this is a bit strange. And then the peer, the whole group sort of situation comes along, and people try to, some people just watch from distance, but some people come right up in your face and they actually press you and push you to try and make you swear. And I'm like, no, I'm not swearing. And they tried for a while and then they'd give up. But that's me. Like, I don't give in to peer pressure. If it's something that I don't want to do, then I won't do it. And everyone else would swear. Whether they really wanted to or not, I'm not sure. Most of them didn't really think anything of it. But that's just one example. So I make up my mind about something. If I say no, that means no. And I'll find a way out of it one way or another. In the dream, though, I was in this mental state where, looking at it back now as I'm awake, I realized that in my dream I didn't have that capability. I didn't have that level of consciousness of being able to step back and go, no, or leave the party, or, you know, go to another room, or like find some way out of it politely. You know, I could have just, you know, gone to the toilet and just sat in the toilet for like an hour while everyone else is like eating their crazy expired salad or whatever, and then come back and go, oh, yep, that was great, wasn't it? And just pretended to have participated. You know, like, I could have found a way out of it, but in my dream, I didn't have that level of consciousness. I didn't have that ability to actually think, no, I'm not going to. I just, in my mind, at the time, in the dream, I was like, everyone else is doing it, so I have to do it. And I have this feeling that I that I really don't want to, but what can I do? So, like, I just didn't have that. I didn't have that ability to think, to think outside the box. I was stuck in these constraints that were so tight that that my mind was just incapable of seeing any other possibility. My mind was incapable of of just saying no, or just going home or something. And it made me think that I wonder if that's what if my mind had that state of consciousness in my dream, then there must be lots of other people out there in the world that have that state of consciousness now. So some people talk about this idea about there being NPCs in our reality, and that they are not really real people, and that they're just illusions or figments of our imagination or whatever, or characters in a game. And who knows what's real, or I don't know. Who knows if that's true or not? But there's an alternative spin on that idea, and that's that that everyone is alive in consciousness and conscious in the world as we expect them to be, but people are at different levels of consciousness, and some people may have more of an NPC level of consciousness in that they are less able to think, or less able to think outside the box, or they can't think outside the box at all. And I wonder if what I experienced in my dream is whether there's lots of other people who are out there in the world who operate in that manner of thinking, of consciousness, of experience in their life, where they follow the parameters and they follow the storyline, they follow the experience that's given to them, almost like they're in a dream where they're just experiencing it, and they can think about what's going on, and to some extent they can make limited choices of where their experience goes. So in the dream I could choose which salad item, which thing I was going to eat, but there wasn't any choice about eating or not eating, or going somewhere else, or doing something else, or like leaving the property. Like I just couldn't even fathom that idea. I didn't have that ability. Like the box was the room that I was in, and I couldn't leave that room. So are there people out there who just live in that state of mind where they it's almost like they're what I experience in a dream and what you may experience in other dreams that you may have, where it's like you're just being carried along through the dream, and someone else is running the story, and you're participating in that story, and you're a player in that world, and you may make some small decisions here and there, but those overall decisions don't really affect the general story of what's going on. You're just a character within the show, and you participate as you're meant to. Whereas I feel that for myself, on the other hand, I feel I don't want to say I don't want to like make myself sound too good or anything. Like I don't want to put myself on a pedestal or whatever, but I feel like maybe I am at like just a different level of consciousness where I'm also operating within like this dream space that we call life. Let's just use that analogy of a dream to keep things simple, but maybe I'm operating within this space, but I have like this broadened sense of consciousness, this broadened perspective where I am able to think outside the box, and I am more able to make choices, and I can see different solutions that other people might not see, and I might be able to pick different paths that other people may not even realize exist. I may be able to invent my own paths, invent my own different ways of doing things. And in this lifetime here, we may be in a similar situation where people are seemingly at a party and something is being offered, and you can take it or you can take it, is what's being told to everyone. Or in my case, like maybe I'll come up with a different solution that suits me, something that gets me to a place that would be fine with and acceptable with everyone else, but not necessarily having to follow their story. Maybe I'll take a different path. So So that's yeah. So the first part of this, what I talked about was the dream that I experienced. So that's like the very minimal sort of consciousness where you're sort of like you're a little bit self aware, but you're not really like fully aware. You can't even like think outside this tiny little box. Then there's like me in this lifetime here now, where it's like I have like I feel like I have this broadened, compared to the dream, this broadened sense of who I am and what I can do, and being able to think in wider parameters, have wider experiences in this life. But then let's go the other direction, zoom out some more. Are there people, is there a state of consciousness that we can achieve where we can go even further than where I am, where you are, where we are able to zoom out further and following in the same fashion from before, like you start at the bottom, not being able to think outside tiny parameters. Then where we are now, we're in sort of like, we can call this normal parameters. Are there people who, or is there a state of consciousness where you can think in very extremely widened parameters, and you can have very broad, amazing experiences that are just like way beyond what we have, way beyond what most people can even imagine? Are we capable of that? That's my focus of my life. That's what I've been interested in my whole life, is that idea. I'm just expressing it in a different way now, but I've always been interested in that. Any like magical things, or I use magical as just an easy word, but any things that take our experience to a broader level than the constraints that we live in now. Is it possible? Can we get to that? Can we get to that state?